and welcome to the monthly Jazz Club performance. Before introducing the musicians, let me thank residents and guests for attending and supporting jazz music at University House. A special thanks goes to those who have contributed to the fund. As a result, along with the financial support from Life Enrichment, we are able to bring a variety of talented musicians here. A particular thanks goes to Marianne Blake, who has carefully guarded your donations, a task that we passed on to another jazz aficionado, Stephanie Roden, in the near future. Now for the good stuff. You may have heard Jonti Siman play the bass at a past event with the Django Reinhardt group. He has a technique that, to me, makes his instruments sound like a human voice. He also has been instrumental, no pun intended, in bringing the next individual to us. That is, where'd he go? He's hiding behind me. Master pianist Jovino Santos Neto, who I've had the pleasure of hearing at several jazz venues and who has shared the stage with ensembles and orchestra worldwide. We are indeed fortunate to have him here to share his Brazilian music and charismatic personality with us. Finally, Jeff Busch, drummer, percussionist, vocalist, and composer, will add his talents to the performance this afternoon. Gentlemen, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Good afternoon. I hope you enjoy your sound. It's a beautiful place. I've never been here. I'm enjoying it. I already like it. I might not go home. This is Jonti Siman on the bass. We're very grateful to Jonti because he got us this gig, this opportunity to come and share music with you. That's Busch on the drum set. Don't judge him by the painting on the bass drum. He's better than that. A lot better. And so we're playing music for you. I'm from Brazil, but I've been living in Seattle for 33 years right now, so I have webbed feet like most of you. And that's part of why we love living here. We started off with a composition by my good friend, Neto, who, you know, now he's listening from up there, but I had opportunity to record with him. And he was a guy who came to Rio in 1953 as an accordionist, established himself as a great composer, and that's a tune called Rancho, which means the frog. And the entire melody of the tune has only 4 notes. There's nothing, it's just like, that's all, there's nothing else but that. So it's a very minimalist piece. What is that? You didn't know that? That's why I played the drums. You played the piano, you know. Right? Anyway, speaking of Jeff, we're going to have Jeff start this tune. This is a Coca. It's my composition. This is from one of the records that I did some years back in Brazil called Roda Carioca, and this is Coca na Roda. Roda means circle, wheel, like rotation, you know, rotatory, Roda, same root. And it's usually music that's played in a circle, but it happens in many different styles. Some of them are played on the coast by the fishermen, some of them are played inland with people who work the land. But so we're giving you a characteristic cocoa. And cocoa na roda means the cocoa is coconut, as in case you didn't know that, but it's because they use the shells of the coconut to create the grooves that goes against. Um, One of the things that you learn when you study, because it depends what generation you are from, there's people here from different generations, your contact with the music of Brazil comes through a different door. So it's like a giant, Brazil in itself is a continent that has been the recipient of immigration from all over the world. You can easily say that Brazil is the longest ongoing, I'll say this slowly, Brazil is the longest ongoing experiment in human miscegenation. Means people blend. I have the DNA from like 17 different ethnicities from Europe, Africa, and the Americas too. Not just me, but I'm not a special man, I'm just another one. Everybody in Brazil has that. And this translates musically to all the influences we have received from many places. North Africa, South Africa, West Africa, East Africa, Sudan, Morocco, Mali. My own DNA comes from Mali and Tonga. So these are places where we have the rhythms that come, but also the music from Vienna, from Austria, from Mozart, Haydn, and Beethoven, because we had connection with the Royal Habsburgs and all the houses of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Anyway, long story to say that this is a composition we played in 1924 by the great Pixinguinha, black Brazilian composer, son of former enslaved people, who became one of the fathers of the sound of Brazilian music. So I have to tell you it was composed in 1924 because if I wouldn't tell you, you wouldn't know. So this is called Lamentos, beautiful composition in the choro style by Pixinguinha, also known as one of the fathers of the choro style. You get it? telling you, it's one of the few things we can have in life that has no expiration date. We have expiration dates, right? We all do, but this music doesn't.
Yeah.
And that's what's the beautiful thing about it, because Pixinguinha is no longer here. He passed away in 1973 as he was going to the baptism of one of his grandchildren. And he actually passed away in the church. So it was already blessed from the beginning. Anyway, what are we doing next?
Zanzibar.
Oh yeah, this is another composer we're going to feature. This is the great Edu Lobo, who is a wonderful Brazilian composer who's in his 80s right now. He's still active in Brazil. And his compositions, he came out as a very young composer in 1966 or so. And he wrote a lot of music during one of the darkest periods of Brazilian history, which is the period of military dictatorship that we had for several decades. So his music, he worked often with lyricists, and of course the lyrics were censored, not because they were against the government, because they were for the people. And they were censored. Blatantly, they could not, the records. So he started to write instrumental music, and the titles were censored. One of them, Casa Forte. This one's called Zanzibar, named after the island off the east coast of Africa. You know, the island of Zanzibar, I believe it's part of Tanzania. I think it's.
Yes.
Is it? Thank you for confirming that. But so it's a baião. But I love the title and I love the baião. And on this original recording from the early 1970s, Edu Lobo is accompanied by my musical mentor, Neto Pascoal, and another one of my musical mentors, Ayrton Moreira. So it's a really beautiful recording. So, and I heard this on the radio when I was a kid. I had no idea what it was, but now we know. Yeah, let's start with the baião, Jeff. Okay, let you get going there, and we'll build a groove in D minor. And then And I will play a little bit more for you. Once again, thank you so much for spending this Sunday afternoon in a state of contemplation. That's what we do, right? Temple. Temple is also a temple, but it's also your temple. So you contemplate. You are in the temple contemplating. And except that you're not looking at us because we're ugly. You're looking at the music, which is invisible. So contemplate, so you can close your eyes. And the reason also that we do music that has no words in it is very important. So that each one of you can put your own words in it. Imagine if I have to make everybody have to say, oh, what a beautiful day. It's okay, it's not beautiful. So you can put your own words into whatever music it is that we do, and it will be a beautiful day because of that. All right, what are we playing next? Here's another one of my compositions. This is a Rancho. Rancho is a kind of march. March is normally a bellic rhythm. It's a rhythm that you go to war with. March. Mars, the god of war. The Romans called it March because of Mars. But there's other kinds of marches. In a place like Brazil, where all these mixtures go on, the marches, instead of being lines of people marching back and forth, became circles of people moving side to side. Old people, young people, children, all ages. So one of those circles or rodas could have 500 people just giving hands and just in a city square. I've seen a couple of those and they're really beautiful. This is one of those marches. It's called Marcha Rancho, it's a branch march, because you do it in the courtyard. And yeah, I'm going to feature Jonti playing the melody here. I want to scare him. All right, so let's think of it really fast. No. So, one, two, know what the next tune is because I have no idea. I will say that one of the beautiful things that happened in Brazil, it did not only happen in Brazil, it happened here in this country too, in a beautiful way by combining the influences from different places. It's just that in Brazil we've been doing it for 500 years, so that just gives you the advantage of age and wisdom in building music. So that's why, not because Brazilian music is better, of course I'm biased, but it's deeper. It's got more flavors in it than just one or two. So it's everything. My mentor used to say, insosso salgado e doce, which means it has no salt, it's too salty, and it's sweet. All at once. Oh yeah, we're playing a baião for you now, and this is, Feira Livre. Feira means fair or market, or, that's usually a farmer's market. In where I lived for so many years, the farmer's market was actually on my street. It comes once a week on Saturdays. And they would put all the farmers and the sellers would put up everything they sell. It could be crabs and fish or vegetables, fruits, all kinds of stuff. And it was a wonderful place to wake up at 4 in the morning after I played a gig there at 2 a.m. with the people throwing the boxes of fish down on the ground right outside of the window. And I would give them water so they could wash the fish. In exchange, I get fish. So when a time of fish is an expensive thing to buy, it was good to give water to the fishmongers. But this is just one of the things. Feira Livre is where everything happens. People have their purse stolen. People steal somebody else's purse. So there's many different interactions happening. So this is why we like this tune. It's from a Latin Grammy-nominated CD, Canto do Rio. It's called Feira Livre. Thank you so much. Great day for you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.